Hello, my name is Amatayo, and I am a developing scientist. Today, I'd like to tell you about one of the new topics I've learned called regenerative medicine and how it relates to the brain. Let's start with describing the brain. So the brain is the control center of your nervous system, which sends signals through information messengers called neurons that span the entire body. Through these signals, the brain controls everything that we do, including decision-making and thinking, body movements, and our emotions. These actions the brain controls are then designated to one of four lobes: the frontal lobe for movement and thinking, the temporal lobe for processing memories, the parietal lobe that deals with all sensory information, and the occipital lobe for vision. Now, that was how the brain normally functions, but sometimes an illness called cancer can happen in the brain, and this is how it occurs. As healthy brain cells proliferate, a few of the cells acquire a mutation that causes it to transform into an unhealthy cell. These unhealthy cells grow faster and have abnormal traits compared to healthy cells, but continue growing until they become tumorogenic, that is, tumor-inducing. Once it reaches this stage, they form a mass of cells called a tumor, which causes the cancer. Brain cancer tumors are called gliomas, which originate from glial cells, a common cell type in brain tissue, in which specific cell they come from determines how it is classified. These tumors arise when genes involved in cell growth are mutated. Two subtypes of gliomas are glioblastomas and medulloblastomas. Glioblastomas are most common in adults and usually specifically originate from the supportive astrocyte cells. As for medulloblastomas, they tend to originate in the cerebellum, a region at the back of the brain, and it is more common in children. Now, let's look at some symptoms of these brain cancers. The common symptoms include nausea, seizures, headaches, vomiting, loss of balance, decreased attention, and decreased processing speed. A key factor in tumors is cancer stem cells. Brain tumors are comprised of various types of unhealthy cells, with cancer stem cells representing a small portion of this population. These can arise from healthy cells that have experienced a transforming mutation, as previously mentioned. Cancer stem cells have the ability to self-renew and differentiate into other cell types. These traits contribute to them driving the malignancy of some tumors and the variety of cells seen in these tumors. These traits also make cancer stem cells resistant to many current cancer therapies, increasing the chance of cancer reappearing. This creates a major problem for the clinical field. A possible solution to cancer stem cell resistance is regenerative medicine. This field of science focuses on the mechanisms within the body that drive restoration or maintenance of the shape and function of damaged tissue. For example, regenerative medicine involves understanding factors a part of the process of wound healing in the skin, such as clotting and growth of new skin, and then manipulating such factors to promote full regeneration from an illness. Before, we discussed that cancer stem cells arise from healthy cells that were transformed by a mutation, giving it the abnormal traits of very fast growth and the ability to form tumors. Well, two pathways this change from normal cell to cancer stem cell can occur through are transdifferentiation and dedifferentiation. Transdifferentiation is a process of a cell changing into an entirely different cell type, similar to a circle cell transforming into a square cell. Dedifferentiation, the second pathway, is when a cell changes into one with simpler traits, like a 3D cube shifting into a simpler 2D square. These two pathways can be utilized in regenerative medicine to understand why cancer stem cells behave the way they do, and to develop treatments that can target factors involved in these pathways. Now that we have an idea about regenerative medicine, let's compare to some common cancer treatments today. First, we have chemotherapy, a cancer treatment often done, which uses specialized drugs to destroy both healthy cells and unhealthy cancer cells in the body. Radiotherapy is also a common method currently used, where radiation is applied to specific areas or the entire body to kill cancerous cells. Lastly, surgery is commonly used for gliomas to remove the cancerous tumors. These treatments are effective, but they also have many drawbacks, including being painful and toxic to the patient, damaging healthy cells, and still having a relatively high risk of cancer reappearing. Regenerative medicine, on the other hand, is looking at the topics of iPS cell therapy, gene editing, and the growth cycle of the cancer stem cells to develop new treatments. iPS cell therapy, where iPS stands for Induced Pluripotent Stem Cells, is an experimental treatment that has been studied for a while. Pluripotent stem cells have the same properties of self-renewal and differentiation as cancer stem cells, but these are typically non-malignant and can naturally be found in the body. This specific treatment involves taking a patient's own cells and changing its traits to develop various tissue and cell types using that process of dedifferentiation. Major drawbacks of this method are that it does not target cancer stem cells and new tumors can spontaneously form. The topics of gene editing and cancer stem cell growth cycles as future regenerative methods are being researched by scientists here in Ontario. Dr. Peter Dirks at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto is working on fixing the unhealthy cancer cells by editing the cell's mutated genes, the primary spot for transforming mutations. And Dr. Lisa Porter from the University of Windsor and WeSpark Health Institute is researching a protein called SPEED1 and its role in how brain cancer stem cells grow. Today, we learned a lot about brain cancer and how regenerative medicine plays a role. But why is regenerative medicine so important? Delving into the field of regenerative medicine can lead to development of new treatments and techniques that reduce the risk of cancer relapse, a major concern of current treatments. Regenerative medicine and associated research is being done locally, which can increase accessibility and reduce costs for patients in Ontario. Thank you for joining me in learning about regenerative medicine and its impact on brain cancer. For more information about our local regenerative scientists and general health science, check out